Ladies and gentlemen, K Kim here. Welcome to the daily update. Hope you guys had a good day trading today. Market is up about 0.8%. We did see some other sectors done a little better. I think, let's actually check real quick. I think we did see, where are the indexes here? So you can see, yeah, it looks like XLE, the energy is up 2%. Semiconductor continues to move higher, about 3.5% today. Why do I have a semiconductor twice here? Let's remove that. Biotech is about 2%. Banks pretty much flat there. Small caps continues to make a run today. So where is the Qs though? Let's put my NASDAQ in there. I think NASDAQ did well today. Yes, 1.5% today. So it looks like S&P is less than 1%, but we're seeing the NASDAQ, we're seeing the energy, we're seeing the semiconductor, we're seeing the biotech, and the small caps continues to march higher today. But let's stick with our 65-minute chart on the S&P, trying to figure out what we can expect going into tomorrow as we dissect this thing on today's video. So it looks like we gapped up today. So this is where it closed on Friday, right? And then we gapped up. And there's a good thing that happened when it gapped up. So we talked about this gap here on the weekend video. And what we talked about was, we talked about how the bulls needed to fill this gap as quickly as possible if they don't want to see hecticness coming into the market this week. What happened was, with that gap up today, because again, this was where it closed, we actually gapped right at it. It would have been better if we would have gapped above it. That would have made this into an island bottom. That will be so much more potent bullish reversal action today, but it gapped just right at it. And with that, and you guys know what happens after the gap gets, or when the price gets to the gap area, right? If you've been following my channel, last year we've been talking a lot about, we've been tracking gaps every single video. And when the gap gets filled, what happens is it's going to act as instant resistance, right? That's why it's better to gapping it over it. That way, that's going to turn into much more faster, more potent, right? And because, you know, we weren't able to gap above it, that's what we saw a pullback. If we would have gapped above it, we would have probably had a higher chance of making a big rally right off the bat. But anyway, it's a good sign. It's a good sign that bulls filled this gap. Gap got filled, that acted as resistance, came down, and the previous resistance is now acting as what? Support on the second hour. And keep that in mind, once that gap got filled, what happened was, when we saw that price gapping up, we gapped above my short-term moving average. And we talked a lot about this on the weekend video, that buyers want to get back above and reclaim that short-term moving average. To do that, you know, when we saw that pullback today, you can see where that short-term moving average is residing at 377. Tested a couple times, dip buyers showed up. Again, that's the level where prior resistance, potentially new support, coinciding with that short-term moving average. Again, also, if you remember, when the gap is open like this, it's better for the bulls. At least some portion of the gap remains open versus this thing like gapping up and coming right back down, filling the gap. It's much better if that some portion of the gap is open. 50% or more is better. In this case, we did have a gap this much right at open, and we came down, filled half of it. So you can see there's still gap remaining, and that's a good sign. And this price stayed above my short-term moving average, prior resistance as new support, and then on third hour, we see bulls pushing it higher, right? We pushed it above it, and this resistance that we saw right at open. We thrust it above it. And then on 4th hour, we pushed it a little bit. And then you can see 5th and 6th, we're coming back potentially to retest that 378.40 level. So obviously the bulls want to see, or bulls want to see a continuation to the upside. We don't have any known resistance until 381 or so. So if they want to continue, because we do have these subtle higher lows now and higher highs. We're talking like a short to micro term now. This, we got these higher highs and higher lows in the short to micro term move that we've seen in the last couple of days. So I think bulls want to see if we can hold on to this 378.40, right? Prior resistance as new support, potentially this becoming some kind of a bull flagging pattern. If we do see a continuation tomorrow and stay above 378.40 in the first 2 hours, there's a good chance that bull's going to attack 381 once again. If we do see the price sliding lower, obviously, we have the short-term moving average there residing at 377.55 because it's been advancing here today. And that gap area once again at 377.17. Let's check out that oscillator, see if we can get a little bit better idea. Maybe we can refine our analysis for today. So looking at this oscillator here, so you can see this oscillator is telling us that there's a lot of bullish momentum. So let's kind of go back and maybe do a little like back testing every time we saw a move like this, right? And first of all, we talked about this level here on the weekend video, that's that support. And we didn't know for sure if you're gonna, you know what I mean? So we never know for sure, right? Because none of us can see the future. But this is a level we talked about. Hey, you know what? Last time we did see, my oscillator bouncing back up, crossing back up at this level, and we actually closed right on it on Friday. It was just right there, right? And so with that gap up, we found that oscillator support. We did see the cross, and then we saw buyers coming in and, putting the price higher. But what I wanted to say is when we do see this cross here, and when we do see this kind of a sentiment on my oscillator where it is advancing like this, like that, like this here, right? This is here, and this is here. And again, we also have to understand that price had to stay above my short-term moving average. That's a criteria, right? So not only we got the cross on the oscillator, but price has to stay above the short-term moving average. If we can check those two, right? The oscillator cross and the price reclaimed above the short-term moving average. Subsequently, we did see price printing higher, right? Coming days. I'll come back for you. Enjoy your evening and good luck trading tomorrow.